Welcome to episode number 269 of the Keep Up Podcast.
Nice.
Really switching up the format on me.
Dude, it's 69. You gotta say nice.
Oh, I got you. I was like, what is happening here?
It's the only opportunity I'll get it until 369.
Right, another hundo.
Yeah, I could have said, well, where we nice.
Did you do it for 69 and 169?
No.
I feel like
Did we have intro? We didn't have intros like that before.
we must have in the hundreds.
You think that's when it started?
Yeah.
Doing intros like this?
I think so. Like the one you just didn't do.
Right.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
169. I'll have to go back and listen.
You're not going to.
Well, I'm curious.
Yeah, I know you're not going to.
Wow. Brett has no confidence in me.
No, I have confidence that I know exactly what you're going to do, and it's not listen to episode. You've never even listened to the podcast.
Yeah, I have. A couple times.
A couple times in 8 years.
Yeah. Brett, I don't need to listen to perfection
All right, that's fair.
because I perform
I
perfectly.
need to listen to perfection.
I need to aspire to be it. And once I hear it, I'll be like, oh, I got to be like that every week.
Right.
But I do it naturally.
Speaking of perfection,
Yes.
welcome to the Keep Up Podcast, where I'm Brett and Tim is Tim.
That's me.
We talk about all the things we consume, be it media or food. And if you're watching, which is a possibility,
With your eyeballs.
where we've been on YouTube, but we're back on YouTube for YouTube's sake.
Right.
Meaning, we're recording specifically separately from the live stream
Right.
for YouTube.
For YouTube.
How's it feel, Tim?
It feels bright.
Feels what?
Bright.
Bright. It is bright. We got new lights and it's bright.
It's very bright.
Yes.
But yeah, we've updated, we've changed things. So as far as the live podcast goes, I don't think we'll be doing that. At least for the foreseeable future.
No, dude.
Instead, we'll be doing just live, just once a week. We'll go live and play games, watch like YouTube shorts. We could watch some like scary YouTube shorts or react to
scary,
stuff.
dude.
I know.
Wow.
We can do a lot of things.
We
so,
can. That's true.
Make it more of a variety show for those because we feel like we don't really interact as much with the people while we're live.
It's true.
Because we don't want to break up the flow of the podcast.
We don't want to.
And it's hard to read and react, and it's
hard.
a lot. So,
a lot.
For those of you who are there for the live podcast, greatly appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Of course.
And we'll be doing the same thing, live, just not the podcast. We'll just be having fun. So it's not the
different
same, but we'll be there the same way, in the same format, still on Twitch. Yeah.
Yeah, so if you're on YouTube or you are listening to the podcast, you want to catch some live streams, go follow Tim on Twitch, twitch.tv/collectionrevolution. That's where we do the live streams for the Keep Up Podcast.
Yeah.
And you can also follow us on all the socials at the Keep Up Podcast. It's Instagram and Twitch and, Instagram and TikTok and, what's the other one? YouTube.
Yeah.
What'd you find on the tablecloth?
A Pringle.
Oh, weird.
It's a lot softer than I thought.
Sorry for the new mics where you can very clearly hear what Tim just did. Gnarly.
Nice.
How's
Yes, that's the other thing. We have brand new mics.
Yeah, dude, they're pretty new.
They're pretty new.
I like them. They feel pretty. If I get really close,
They're really heavy.
they sound good. They are heavy. Yeah. So that's how you know an item is of good quality.
Right. Like you and I,
Yeah.
we're heavy boys.
Heavy boys.
Good quality.
Great
I mean,
quality.
I'm heavier. Brett's like,
I don't think so. I
Brett's
probably
like
got
5.
you. I feel like I got you.
got me.
Weight wise?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No way.
You don't think?
I'm big chunky.
You don't think I weigh more than you?
No. You don't ever weigh more than me.
What? I don't?
No.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
No,
Yes, I do.
when we were
Yes, I do.
when we were
Yes, I do. When we
dieting.
were
dieting.
when we were dieting.
Yes, there was a point where I weighed less than you.
Yeah.
And
See?
But
I
that
weighed
was
more.
it.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
that was the one time I can think it happened. Yes, I do.
Yes, I do.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying.
Yeah. But all
what I
that to say, heavy things are good quality.
Good quality, just like these mics,
Bing.
just like the Keep Up Boys.
Bing.
So
heavy
that's
and good quality. That's our new tagline.
Yeah,
To
heavy.
keep up.
Good quality. It'll be like is it Dockers that has like real nice pants or something? But it's like real, period, nice, period, pants.
What's a Docker?
Dockers is a type of, isn't that pants? It's a brand. I don't know, dude.
I know.
Get it?
AKA Levi's.
Oh, nice.
Thank you.
I actually didn't know why you brought that up.
Yeah,
but
I just
I
got
see the
comedy.
connection. Comedy.
And we also have our pet.
Yeah.
That's it.
Wow. For everyone listening, there's a stuffed platypus on the table.
Uh-huh.
And no, the great plapatus.
Yes, the great Plapatus.
That's the great plapatus.
He has returned.
I forgot about him. What are we going to talk about today? You got anything you want to tell me about your life or whatever, or can we just move on, please?
We can just keep going. No, not much is going on.
Yeah.
Just living day by day,
That's
Rick.
it. All you can do is get by.
Just doing my best.
Good.
Yeah. What about you? Hands good, healthy?
My hands?
Wow.
Surgery on the left one completed weeks ago.
Yep.
Feels great.
You're back to normal, right?
You would think.
No issues at all,
You
brother.
would think.
That's what I think.
You would think.
Yeah?
However,
Uh-huh.
my right hand has started giving me shooting pains. Oh, that was...
What happened?
Dude, I said pains so hard and the mic clipped.
Oh.
Like, look at that. Look at
Oh,
that.
we're
waveform.
peaking?
No, we're not.
Shooting pain!
I hit the way
Oh,
too hard. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, I got these shooting pains throughout my right hand
Dude.
now. And I think it's related to the same thing on the carpal tunnel, but I don't know. The doctors won't get back to me, dude. I'm like, hey, what happened between us? And they're like, we're seeing other patients.
No.
I'm like, how dare you?
Please, I'm suffering.
How could you do this to me?
So why is it
I'm
that...
lost without you.
Is there more?
That's it. I just wanted to wrap. With
Oh,
that.
okay. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you
No, it's
during
fine.
your segment.
It's fine. I'm resilient.
Yeah.
I'm a survivor.
You're going to make it.
I'm not going to give up.
You will survive.
So I don't know. We'll find out what happens, but it's fine. I'm
Yeah.
good enough. I'm supposed to go back to work next week, and it could suck, but maybe it doesn't suck. But
All right. That's what I hope, that
Yeah.
it doesn't suck.
right. I also hope that.
But I am sorry your hands keep bugging you. That's
You know
so
what, dude?
frustrating.
It's okay. It's just my body saying, "Hey, we got to fix something before you just got to fix something."
Right.
You know?
Your body is not a wonderland in this case.
No.
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 Not yet, anyways.
My body is a world of hurt.
That's a different song.
Oh yeah, that's right. No, it's mostly good. Mostly it's good. I just
Yeah.
can't straighten out my fingies.
Oh, that's great.
But honestly, do me a favor, everyone. Straighten out your hands and ask yourself, do I even need to do this? Tim, don't put your hands up too much further. You're very close to Nazi territory.
What? No, it's just...
Yeah. Stay in zombie land, not Nazi territory.
So I that makes sense.
Right.
Nazi zombies.
Right.
You know, that's why they go along. It's just
Wait,
it's just their arms.
they just crank their arms up a little bit of a harder angle?
Yeah, Nazi zombies, they're in between both. You know, they're a little bit higher up.
Yeah, their muscles are deteriorating.
Do they do
so
both hands? That seems not practical.
I think the OG zombies, yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean like
Nazi zombies? I never.
No.
Oh,
Well,
Nazis. No, it's one. Just Nazis. Living Nazis.
So if I do both, I'm okay.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, or it just feels like you're super into it.
It's all or nothing.
You're saluting so hard, actually.
Oh, freaking Nazis, man.
Yeah, I know. What's that about?
You know, I can give you the lesson.
Not now, I don't think.
1939.
Oh, right.
Hitler was born.
Wow.
He was 4
He
during
got
World War
busy
II.
quick. Based on what I know.
And that's the history.
All right. Well, that feels
The
like
end.
as good a time as any to go into movies.
Sure.
Okay.
Ooh, let's go to the movies.
I watched 2 movies recently.
2.
Yeah, and they're both old.
Brett, people don't watch movies anymore. Don't you understand?
One is older,
Yeah.
just because I guess that's how time works.
Both are old, you said.
Yeah, they're both old. But one's older than the other one.
Older.
Yeah.
Older.
So last week we talked about Godzilla Minus One
Yes.
and how it rules.
Right.
So I watched Godzilla.
0.
I
1.
guess. The
Plus
the-
1.
The original. Gojira. Godzilla plus 1.
Right.
And 1954, the first of all of the
Technically,
Godzilla
it'd be
films.
plus 2, right? Because if you're -1, you plus 1, you're at 0. Now, is the first Godzilla considered Godzilla 0 or 1?
It's just called Godzilla.
Right.
I don't like that when we come out with sequels,
Mm-hmm.
we start adding numbers to the earlier ones. Like, I don't like saying Home Alone 1. I like saying
Right.
Home Alone.
It's just Home Alone.
And that's the title.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
Oh, you don't have to do it.
You know what I mean? But people do it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't, and I get why, because if I'm like, oh, I love Home Alone.
Right.
Home Alone's my favorite movie. Would you ask the person which one? Or would you assume that Home Alone is their favorite movie?
It would be a reflex because I would want to keep the conversation going. And I feel like if I bring the second one into play, it would be like, oh, well, which one do you like? But yeah, if you say Home Alone, I mean, the assumption is you mean the first movie. Because if you meant the second
That'd
movie,
be my assumption.
you would say Home Alone
You say
2.
Home Alone 2.
Yeah.
But I just feel like when people talk about it,
They're like Home Alone 1.
you know what I mean?
Yep. Spider-Man's even more confusing.
Spider-Man's so confusing.
Because
But
if you
that's
say,
fair.
well, if you say, I just recently, dude, Spider-Man 2 is so good. Do you mean Spider-Man 2 Tobey Maguire? Do you mean Spider-Man 2 the game? Do you mean Amazing Spider-Man 2? Do you mean Spider-Man Far From Home?
I was going to say, if you're talking movies, technically every one of them, the only movie called Spider-Man
Yeah.
is Tobey Maguire's.
True,
Right?
if you say like Spider-Man, but with the context of new Spider-Man coming out.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But there is still the PS4 Spider-Man game. But if you're
yeah.
talking movies,
yeah.
you know, you just have that. Or the PS1 Spider-Man
So
game.
I was just going to say, I guess that's maybe the only exception is consoles.
Yeah.
Like, you have to say PS1.
Right. A lot of people say like PSX.
Oh.
Which is weird.
I
like
have
one.
seen that, yeah.
Yeah.
But maybe that one bothers me too. I don't know.
I always say PS1. You don't say just, well, you could just say the PlayStation.
Yeah, but does anyone say that?
I always say PlayStation 1.
Like when you're
Always.
referring to maybe it's the way you talk about a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like, usually when I talk about the original PlayStation, sometimes I'll say the original PlayStation, but that's just extra syllables for me to be like a jerk about it. You know what I mean?
On the original PlayStation.
The original PlayStation, some aid correctly refer to it as the PS1. I like that's just, but I do that sometimes. But PS1 is fine.
Yeah.
But Godzilla,
Right. Godzilla.
technically you got to do the years
Right.
because there's two Godzillas.
Right, because once you get to that point, it's funny. That's what I've been doing for like when I play like remakes of games.
Yes.
In my game completed list, I'll put Resident Evil 4, and then I had to put Resident Evil 4 2023.
Yeah.
Or remake.
Well, yeah,
Sometimes I'll
because
throw a
aren't those
remake.
officially called remake?
No, Resident Evil 4 is just called Resident Evil 4. I mean, there's
Unbelievable.
yeah, like if you type in Resident Evil 4
Yeah.
remake, you'll get the remake.
Right.
But it's not part of the official title.
Oh, that's true. I guess same thing for Resident Evil 2.
Yeah.
It's just called Resident Evil 2.
Even Resident Evil 1 is just called Resident Evil.
But all over the internet it says remake.
Right. Well, because that's what people know it as. Very confusing. But Godzilla
1954.
1954.
Yeah.
Wow. I kind of thought it was a little older.
I thought it was the 40s, but it's 54,
Yeah.
unless I need to be corrected, in which case, correct me. But I
why
looked many
technology.
times because I wanted to make sure I was watching. I realized, like, I thought I knew how the old Godzilla movies worked, but I was nervous that I was like, because there are some kaiju films that came out like in the midst of the Godzilla franchise that I was like, are they related? Are they just other monster movies? But yeah, this, I believe the first one, 1954. Are you verifying?
1954, yeah.
Let's go,
And
dude.
I guess the other thing we have to consider is post World War II Japan probably didn't really get back into function until around the 50s
Oh, interesting.
because of all the oppression and terrible things that we did. It was a rough time.
Rough time.
So, but Japan has become prosperous since,
Yeah, I would say so.
specifically because of Godzilla.
Godzilla.
And so you watch it. So I've tried to watch this before.
My brain just shut down and I just went, Godzilla.
Dude, that happens to me all the time. I just say things.
You
and
just say a word while your brain is like, what's next?
Hold on. Let's think about it.
Godzilla.
Godzilla?
Yeah.
But yeah, so I tried to watch it and I fell asleep.
Right, okay.
Fell asleep. So
Okay.
I really do want to give it a fair shot. I didn't watch it late or anything, but I think I was just.
I was going to ask
wasn't
what the
in right-
circumstances were because, yeah, you told me it was kind of hard to get through.
Yep.
Now, the closest experience I had to going back this far, actually was further, was when I watched Nosferatu. This was probably a couple years back.
Yeah.
And just in the name of seeing the OGs, you know what I mean? And being
That
like,
one's an even harder watch.
that one was hard. So
Yeah.
when you said, And it's, there's a beauty in its in the history of it, and of course you have to take into consideration the time it was made and all that. So it is, I think it's worth watching. But it took me a couple sittings to get through that. I was legitimately falling asleep. I'm just used to so much more stimulation than that. But going back to this one, I actually I was pretty impressed with the watch. I thought, now granted, it's like guy in a suit effects and like layering film and stuff like that, but knowing that made it pretty impressive to watch. And I actually thought some of the scenes with Godzilla were way more impactful than I expected them to be at this point, especially on the heels of Godzilla Minus One.
Oh, yeah.
But I would say if you haven't seen it, I saw it when I was a kid. I'm pretty sure, like, I know my dad used to put on old monster movies all the time. I think the Sci-Fi Channel used to play them. So I had seen them, but I was young enough that I didn't really clock everything. I didn't remember anything from the movie, really, which brings me also to the point that there are a lot of things, and I don't want to assume it was intentional, but at the same time, it must have been to a degree. There are so many things, full scenes and concepts in Godzilla Minus One that feel like a direct play on Godzilla 1954. Like the way, the way the stories are intertwined, the human story on top of the Godzilla story,
right?
Which we talked at length about in the last episode. But just that those two stories, like obviously you want to see Godzilla, you're there at the theater to see Godzilla, but you need some kind of story to carry it along. So of course you see how the city's being affected, what the news stations are saying, what relationships are being impacted, and how. And they do a lot of similar things in Minus One that they did in the original Godzilla. So it was kind of cool to watch right after that.
Yeah.
So,
I bet.
Yeah. So if you're caught up in the Godzilla Minus One hype as well, and you've seen it recently, I would say now's a really good time to watch the first one. Or if you're just curious, it's also really interesting to watch and just know what the effects are going to be like. It's kind of fun to watch older movies like that and be like, how did they do it?
Right.
And there's a couple of shots where if you're studying it, of course you can see like, all right, they just filmed people being like, ah, like looking up at an angle, and then they cut to Godzilla, but it's kind of effective.
It's convincing in the movie, especially when it's spliced together and stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it is. Because, a lot of people think older films will look cheesy and be weird, but honestly, a lot of them are just straight up quality. And they made things look good and made things work out. And really, if you get yourself immersed in the movie, it won't really matter.
Right. Yeah, and I was able to do that. I think it was an interesting enough storyline to follow, and it was very, can I say, not political, but it has, like what we've talked about with other, specifically Japanese Godzilla movies, where they really focus on the government and what would the response be, and that whole theme is carried in the original. So it was kind of cool to go back and see, like, oh, some of the things that I've my throat just did a crazy. Did you hear that? Some of the things we've called out in Shin Godzilla and Minus One recently have always been the case with Godzilla. So, especially in 54, not that far removed from the war, like you mentioned.
No.
Just kind of crazy to think about. But is absolutely a keeper. Keep it on the list or add it to the list. I would highly recommend Godzilla 1954 if you're into that kind of thing.
There's so many Godzilla movies.
There are 36.
That's crazy.
Yep. And Godzilla Kong, the new one that's coming out, that might be 37. I forget. But I started this one because HBO Max. You guys know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That has all of them. And
really?
I want to watch them all.
This one, Godzilla, Mothra, and King Ghidorah, giant monsters, all-out attack. Godzilla movie came out in 2001.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
There's this whole, every decade has like a handful of them starting from the 50s. I think Godzilla Raids Again, which is the second one, only came out of like
a year later.
Oh, is it the next year?
Yep.
So that's nuts. And then, there's these early 2000s ones that I'm like, what do these even look like?
These are all ranked like relatively
They're
high.
not bad. That's the other thing. I looked up a list of like the best ranked. I was actually looking for other kaiju type movies.
Yeah.
And I found a list of ranking all the Godzilla films, and it's not like all the old ones are ranked really badly or anything. Some of them are, the top of the list.
Yep.
And I forget, I want to say this was on IMDb. ranked a lot of the older films way higher than I expected. So.
Yeah, I expected it because, you know, as time goes on, they'll just keep spitting out different movies and you'll be like, it's getting worse and worse. But yeah, I mean, across the board, I mean, I don't know how good they are. I got to see them, but Godzilla versus Space Godzilla.
Yeah, like can't wait for that one.
I've known of all these like creatures and monsters and stuff, but I don't know their origins or anything.
Me neither. That's the thing. It's like I want to go back and see where they all came from, and most of what I know is from more recent modern Godzilla movies, but it's also funny to think on, like, because I saw this on most of the lists, that the Godzilla that came out in 99 is like the worst ranked on every list because it's basically like a Jurassic Park.
Yeah, so that
movie.
was the first American Godzilla?
I think it was, yeah.
Weird. Because we didn't get another one until
2013?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Or 2014?
I always forget.
I think it's 2014, but
I think you're right. Confirm, Tim.
confirm.
Just confirm.
We did have the Godzilla animated series.
Yeah, which was also based on that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is messed up.
That's funny.
Yeah, 2014.
2014. I know that.
Yeah, you know that. It's okay.
Godzilla 1954, Keeper. Side note, I'm going to see Godzilla Minus One tonight in IMAX. I can't wait.
Dude. It's going to be so good.
The other old
Again.
movie I watched
Yes.
that's not as old. Right. The Crow.
The Crow. Oh, never seen it. Never seen it.
Come on, man. The whole crux of the conversation
Is
hoped that you'd seen it. But that's all right. I love the aesthetic of The Crow.
yes.
I love the 90s, late 90s, early 2000s anti-hero.
This is based off a comic, right?
It is. Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah. And the reason I bring it up, I don't need to talk too much about The Crow because I feel like a lot of people are familiar with The Crow. What I was going to ask you about, but you haven't seen it, but maybe you can think of something that's like this.
Chris Angel, Mind Freak.
You're not far off, I guess. What's interesting to me about The Crow is it's an iconic movie, very, very classic, and kind of captures everything about the 90s, like goth aesthetic, I guess. And I actually have never read the comic. I should, but I have to assume we need to credit that for what the movie became,
Right.
As the source material. And there's also the iconic and tragic story of Brandon Lee in The Crow passing away. I was watching some videos about that. It's just a crazy story every time I revisit it.
Yeah, because that's essentially at this point, it is part of the movie experience.
Yes. Yeah.
Right? You can't watch The Crow without without like thinking of it or watching some documentary or YouTube video on it after. Because it's just like, it's tragic, it's messed up, it's a crazy part of it. So I know more about the story than I do about the movie because I haven't seen the movie yet.
Right.
But.
It really does make watching the movie something different. Knowing it was his last film and just the tragedy of what happened on set.
Yeah.
And if you guys don't know, there was an improperly loaded blank in a gun during a scene where Brandon Lee gets shot, and due to the I forget exactly how it works. Because I was actually under the impression this scene was in the movie where it happened. They just used a double to reshoot it, but they didn't do that. There's actually a scene that was never. They totally cut it out and shot a replacement scene with a double. But what was supposed to be a blank was not entirely a blank, and he ended up dying of a gunshot wound. So. And it's interesting. I was just talking to Rach about The Dark Knight the other day, and she was saying how that, while she loves it, it's harder for her to watch it because of
Heath Ledger.
Yeah. And it feels very similar watching The Crow. But what is so interesting to me is how beloved this movie has remained, because every time I watch it, again, I love it. I love the Spawn movie. I'm a massive Underworld fan. I love the Blade movies, particularly 1 and 2. I don't remember 3 very much. It's got Ryan Reynolds and it's extra silly, which I don't say as negatives. But and I also remember Jessica Biel just like listens to her iPod and shoots a bow and arrow or something.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Doesn't Ryan Reynolds listen to music too? In that?
Maybe everyone's it's just a big iPod commercial with Wesley Snipes.
I thought he listened to music while he did, I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, made jokes and maybe it's fun. I don't know. I got to revisit that one.
Right.
But 1 and 2 are bangers. My point is I love that whole era. And The Crow is it is great, but the point I'm trying to get to is every time I watch it, there's a couple scenes where I'm like, this definitely isn't like it's kind of silly.
Yeah.
Like there's there will be a scene where it's like there's a scene where he drops off a roof and it looks cool. And then he lands in like a pile of trash. And that's not even the part that I'm like, oh, I wonder if people would like roll their eyes at this. But then the camera like kind of starts to pull away from his face, like it starts in on his face, and he's just going, and it's just him like being ominous, kind of, And then there's a part where he gets punched, and he does this like he like flings his head back, and then like looks at the guy with these eyes that are like, you dare punch me, and
you fool.
You got to just watch the scene for what it is, like not read into it, but there's a part of me that expects this movie to be getting ripped apart online or something like that.
Yeah.
But in its entirety, the movie it's still great. Do you have any movies that you watch and you're like, I know this is a beloved movie and I'm surprised it's like stood the test of time? Because I do think The Crow does. I don't want anyone to get spicy with me who loves The Crow, because I also love The Crow. But I watch it and I'm like, I'm kind of surprised this one is still like, when you go online, I feel like you cannot often find anyone be like, oh, there's a couple cringy scenes, but I still love it. They're all like, greatest movie of all time. This is my favorite movie. I watch this movie every year.
Now, do you think that's just people who are like mega fans of The Crow? And
it's definitely part of it. And maybe those are the only people. Like, I don't know how many people, what's the cutoff of when people have seen The Crow? I don't know how many people in like generations younger than ours have seen it, but I still see a lot of like merch drops from smaller companies that print like shirts and hoodies and hats of older movies. The Crow always gets love from those companies. So, and maybe I'm the target market for that. So, but it's just interesting. I if you haven't seen The Crow, I do definitely recommend watching it. And it is just so 90s like goth rock star.
Yeah.
The soundtrack is so grunge and like goth rock. He sits on a roof at one point just playing guitar. I'm not kidding. So you hear like because he's in a band in life,
of course.
And then in his afterlife, spoiler alert, he comes back, but it happens quick. It's the whole story. I'm not spoiling anything really.
It's okay.
There's a panning shot up a building to him sitting on the edge of the roof, and you see the amp hanging off the roof, and he's just like soloing, and it's a pretty cool image.
So maybe that's why it's so like beloved and talked positively of is because it nailed that genre, and a lot of things followed after it, like being Underworld, being Queen of the Damned, like those types of movies where it was gothic and hardcore, and so maybe that's why, because it's like the forefather. That's probably the right term.
Yeah, totally.
The grandfather, if you will.
I think it is the outline, like the one of the quotes.
When did it come out? The 90s?
I want to say 92.
Let's see.
But I could be wrong.
The Crow, 94.
Oh, 94. I was later than I thought. So, like, one of the review quotes on the movie, because I actually have the DVD. It's rarely streaming anywhere.
Yeah.
It says, the best movie of its kind since the original Batman. And that's actually a really good, like, it's that aesthetic.
Okay, yeah.
Dark city being torn apart, constantly on fire, and there's some crazy crime boss. And I think the villains and, like, the henchmen in this movie are actually, like, particularly great and like, they're over the top, and they literally, like, the whole city is just on fire throughout the entire movie. So it is kind of that. It's like a Sin City feeling.
Yep.
I do think it is the godfather of many movies to follow. And again, overall, I really love it. I don't think it's bad. I just think it's very interesting how some movies are so beloved that their imperfections are completely overlooked. Yeah. And I love that. It's just an interesting thing that we're like, no, why would you say anything bad about it? Like,
I can't think of any movies off the top of my head that like scream that to me.
Well, I wish you would bring something to contribute to the podcast every now and then. People love that movie now.
I enjoy it.
I haven't seen it in probably 15 years.
Yeah, it's a fun watch, but maybe Mortal Kombat, that could be another one. I feel like
I love Mortal Kombat.
We talk about Mortal Kombat so much.
We do.
But it's one that is still to this day regarded as one of the best video game movies.
Yeah.
Now it's being dethroned by many other things.
Oh my gosh, it's
but
crazy.
people remember it fondly, and it definitely has some cheesy moments and some like weird choices. But
You know what movie I completely forgot about and do over and over again? Assassin's Creed.
never saw it.
Me neither.
Nope.
How did neither of us see that movie?
I don't know. It didn't do well.
No,
I
it
missed that
didn't.
and the Prince of Persia one.
I
Ubisoft released
forgot.
2 movies, and we didn't see either. Of them.
So it was Jake Gyllenhaal, right?
Yeah.
That looked goofy to me.
Did it? I don't even remember how it looked.
I didn't like Jake Gyllenhaal as that character. I mean,
No,
Jake Gyllenhaal's incredible. So
Yeah.
it's probably fine. But
I don't. Yeah,
I don't imagine it's great because I didn't hear much about it. But like I love Michael Fassbender and he was in Assassin's Creed, so I know it didn't do well. But I just always remember it. I'm like, how did I not at least watch it?
right. It's a video game movie. How did we miss it?
It's crazy.
It's long, I guess, but
I need you to watch The Crow.
I want to watch it. So it is technically streaming on Pluto TV.
What the heck? Do you have to pay?
Yeah.
They got a free trial? You should watch it tonight while I'm watching Godzilla.
Watch hundreds of channels free. I guess it's free. And the first thing that pops up is The Crow.
That's weird.
That is really
Wait,
weird.
what are you looking at? Did you not just look up The Crow?
Oh, maybe that's what it is. I just went to the Pluto TV link on IMDb
From The Crow?
from The Crow. Yeah.
Oh, and it shows. That's a pretty smart interface, huh?
yeah. So it takes you right to look. I can watch.
Oh, you can watch it.
I'm watching it right now, man.
All right, we're going to hang
Oh,
out here.
you can't
while
fast
someone-
forward though.
Why do you want to fast forward?
Just to I don't know. There's commercials.
Oh,
It's
okay.
like,
I was like, how do you watch movies?
What's that other website that you get things for free?
Tubi?
Tubi. It's like
Yeah.
Tubi.
But if you put
Pluto.
in your email, oh no, you still have the ads.
yeah,
But it's whatever.
I can watch it without commercials, anyways, Brett.
The Crow's a keeper.
Keeper.
Keep The Crow. Watch it. I
Pet
would
it.
love to hear from anyone who has not seen The Crow to watch it now. And what a weird sentence. I would love to hear from anyone who hasn't seen The Crow to watch it now.
Yeah.
Improper with an M, not an N.
Improper.
I would love for anyone who hasn't seen it to watch it now, and I would love to hear from you what you think of it.
Everything you just said really confused me, but yeah, go watch The Crow. I guess that's what I got from it.
Go watch The Crow. Tim's going to watch The Crow too.
Yeah, I'm
Keep
watching it right now.
Put it on the list. Everybody should see it.
Wow, that was great. I love that part.
I feel like you've been waiting for like a month to talk about video games.
Oh, is it finally time?
It's time. Let's do it.
Video games.
Video games.
Dude, so I played this game and that game and this game and this one. Dude, I've been on a tear.
A tear.
A tear of video games. I had to
Been
pull it up.
on a tear.
But let's start with the elephant in the room. The Game Awards.
Oh, yeah.
Game Awards happened, and there was a lot of cool announcements.
That's true.
Did you watch it?
I watched what I would say is like a healthy third of it
Okay.
because I forgot it was on, remembered,
Good for you.
tuned in,
Yes.
tuned out, and then it was over.
And
I didn't watch. What time did it air until?
It started at 7:30.
Not even what I asked at all.
Did it air until? Well, I wanted to give you the whole thing because you missed it.
Yeah.
So it started at 7:30
Okay.
and ended, I don't know, 11:30.
Was it 11?
Yeah.
Okay. I might have watched like a quarter of it then. It was
Okay.
longer than I thought. But yeah, I think I stopped watching it like 10:30.
Okay.
So I missed the tail end for sure.
Well, you missed some cool announcements.
What do you got?
Dude,
What?
Hideo Kojima
Oh, I did see this.
announced a new game called OD. Xbox exclusive, it seems.
Interesting. I didn't know
Because
that.
he hasn't done anything with Xbox ever, I don't think, other than like Metal Gear Rising Revengeance, but that was also on PlayStation. Anywho,
Right.
but like specifically with Xbox, no.
No.
Looks good. It's a little tough to tell from this moment, like what the gameplay elements are going to be.
Right.
Because the trailer is just people screaming
Yeah.
and bright lights on them.
Okay. Are those real people?
I think they're real people.
Isn't it weird that like we can't 100% tell?
It really could be either way.
Yeah.
It really could be. Yeah, that's just how good technology's getting.
I couldn't tell because the way it's filmed definitely looks like it could be motion capture.
Yeah.
And it's the actors' likenesses, of course. But I just love his love for cinema is so evident more in, like it always has been.
Right.
Once you know it and you play his games, you're like, oh, of course. But this is like, it just looks like a movie. I'm like, I don't really know what it is. And
Yeah, it's photorealistic. If it is if it is like in a video game.
Yeah, right, exactly. I can't even tell. And he's also in partnership with Jordan Peele on this one,
Yes.
which is crazy.
So that means it's got to at least have some kind of horror element.
Yeah,
The trailer made it seem like it was scary. So people just the other day, actually, they zoomed in on one of the actors' mouths and the letters. Did you see this?
I think I read this. Yeah,
and the letters together is essentially Silent Hill in Japanese.
yes, right.
So it's. I don't know how they made the connection. I don't know how it works, but
The thing with the Silent Hill fandom
Yes.
is I'll include myself.
Yeah.
But I don't do this as often. I just wait until there's actually something. Dig and try to find something that's like, he sneezed at the Game Awards. And I'm pretty sure during it, he whispered new Silent Hill reboot coming next week. Like, it's just crazy concepts and ideas around. So the fact that someone even did that, and I read it, it's really confusing.
Yeah.
Because it's like, it's these letters, which are something about this particular prefecture in Japan.
Right.
And then, is that the word prefecture?
there are prefectures.
What is that?
It's like it's almost like a county.
Now I know that.
Yeah, but it's like a certain part of a certain place in Japan.
Right. Okay, that's what I thought. So it's a territory, a region,
Right.
an area,
Yeah.
a place,
A prefecture.
a prefecture.
Yeah.
And then he was like, and if you break it down, it actually is Silent Hill. And I'm like,
Which is-
wait, what are we talking about?
Where are they going?
But I'm just wondering, did you also notice the door?
I did,
He walked out of the door from PT.
which it looked exactly like
I mean,
the
it
PC.
had to be. It's the same coloring and
Yeah.
everything.
Yep.
So, yeah, I don't know. And
But it would. So I mean, that is so Kojima to announce a game and not say it's Silent Hills or Silent Hill in any regard. And like, because the title's OD.
OD, yeah.
That could easily be something that's like referring to something completely different.
but is that also a nod to PT because it's a 2-letter title?
Oh, shoot, I didn't even think about that. Because like when he announced Phantom Pain, the Metal Gear Solid 5,
Yeah.
it initially came out as Phantom Pain. That's what the game was called.
Yeah.
And it was made by like Moby Games or Moby Dick Games or something like that. Like
Okay.
it wasn't even him. He wasn't attached to it at all. And so people were making the connections that there's like like an anagram for Hideo Kojima, the Moby Dick games. Like and they figured it out. And the following like special E3 or whatever, he announced
And
that
it was
it was a Metal
gosh,
Gear game.
that's
but-
insane.
Yeah, so they went a long time without it being. Everyone just thought it was like, this game looks awesome, Phantom Pain, and like the guy, because at the beginning of the game you're like crawling through this place and there's creepy things happening. It didn't look Metal Gear at all,
Right.
and then when you play it, you're like, oh yeah, that's totally Snake.
Yeah.
So all this to be like a tease for a new Silent Hill would be insane.
That's out of control.
so
And-
it's not out of the realm of Kojima. To
Right,
do
right.
that.
It could be. It's very interesting. It's exciting either way. The tagline I thought was interesting, isn't it? For like all gamers and screamers or something like that.
Yes, I don't have it right here, but it was something like
Specifically saying something about. I mean, maybe he's just nodding to the fact that it'll be a horror game. It
Right.
definitely looks like that. But I'm very excited about it. He's such a character in the gaming world.
he really is.
It's very exciting. I need to play Death Stranding.
I still do as well.
You never played it?
No.
That's surprising to me.
That one, I feel like I need like a week of just
Dude, at least.
At least.
Yeah.
That's a game you want to get immersed in. I just
Yeah,
haven't
totally.
found the good moment to do it, but
Yeah.
I'm hoping to soon because he's working on Death Stranding 2 as well.
Oh, that's right. Oh, yeah.
So-
Didn't he announce that last year?
Last year,
He
yep.
put the trailer is crazy.
Or I think during the summer games thing.
Oh, that's what it was. Yeah, I think you're right. That trailer made me want to go play the first one.
Yeah.
So I was like, shoot, I got to be ready to play that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's on PS4. PS4
Oh,
and PS5, so you can play either.
I have that.
He's got that.
I got one of those.
What were you going to say?
I don't know.
Okay.
Oh, I do, but we can skip it.
You sure?
Oh, yeah, dude.
Okay. Next up, Blade, a new Blade video game.
That was exciting to see.
That was really cool. The
Yeah.
trailer was neat too. I didn't think it was Blade at all
Yeah.
until the very end.
That looks very rad.
Arcane Studios, which did Dishonored, they did Prey, they did some other big game that I can't think of at the moment.
Which-
Deathloop.
Oh, Deathloop, which it's funny because I haven't played any of those games. Every one of them had a trailer that I was like, I'm going to play that
This
game.
game's gonna be sick.
Yeah, and I never played
so
any of them.
Blade works perfectly for their style because
Yeah.
it's all about just like teleporting around and assassinating people and
We
stuff
love
like
that.
that. So it's a really good team up. Definitely one of the biggest announcements of the show. Sega came out with this insane trailer that announced 5 new games they're working on. Have you?
I missed that.
You didn't hear any of it?
I don't think so. I'm ready, dude.
Watch Brett's face.
Break the story. All right,
5 games.
Hold up. Let me start it like
Yeah.
just hanging out.
Yep.
Okay, go ahead.
In a world where Sega announces 5 new games.
Okay, that's a
5
lot.
Revivals of old
Ooh,
franchises.
revivals. I'm in now.
Forgotten by time.
I do love Sega.
First game that pops up on the list.
Let's go.
Jet Set Radio!
Shut up.
Yeah.
What?
Jet Set Radio is getting a new game. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Just wait, Brett.
I can't. Faster.
Shinobi. Which they show gameplay for all of these. Shinobi's a 2D hand-drawn side scroller.
Oh
Looks
my gosh. So good. That sounds amazing.
Golden Axe.
No way.
Which is
These
cool.
are new games?
So these are new games coming out in 2024 and 2025.
Thanks be to the great
The
Plapatoos.
Blappa 2. Just wait. There's 2 left.
Okay.
Streets of Rage.
Shut up. No way.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks cool.
So wait.
Especially because we just had Streets of Rage 4.
That's right. They're doing another one.
So yeah, they're either doing it on their own or they're they haven't announced if they're working with other studios.
Okay.
But they're all different art styles, all different takes.
That's really cool.
Yes. And finally,
Yeah.
hey, it's time for Crazy Taxi.
No way,
Dude, I was blown away.
They're making a new Crazy
a
Taxi?
new Crazy Taxi. There's not really much to see here, but yes, Crazy Taxi. None of these have like official titles other than that these are going to be the games.
Dude, shut up.
So Crazy Taxi looks like it's going to be multiplayer. The trailer shows 4 taxis driving around, and they're just going. They're just doing whatever.
Dude, the place must have gone insane.
Oh
when they
my god!
announced that
Everyone
stuff.
like passed out.
Wow.
It was off the walls.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And at the very end, it said "and more." So they're thinking they might
More?
do Sonic Adventure. Because that's Sega, and they're remaking / revitalizing potentially old things.
What will you do?
I'll die. I don't think it'll ever live up to how good Sonic Adventure was, but I will.
Sure, it's hard to replace what that is in your life.
Yeah.
Like, that's your...
Resident Evil 4 was another big one that I just could
Yeah,
not fathom,
that's
but
true.
they killed it.
They did.
But we had to see how these all come out because they could be terrible. I doubt they're going to be, but because Sega makes really solid titles.
Bro, a Sega revival?
Yeah, and that's what people are saying, that it's like Sega is coming back and bringing back the classics.
I'm so here for that.
Yep. So between, again, 2024 and 2025,
Yeah.
these games are projected to come out.
That's
anyways.
exciting, man. That's really exciting.
Yeah, Sega friggin' killed it. Let's see. Some other random games, DLC, new game from the Ninja Gaiden developers, Team Ninja,
Cool.
Rise of the Ronin. Looks cool.
Sounds cool.
Just like a fun samurai game.
I like that.
Let's see.
Got it.
What?
Oh, go ahead.
Dragon Ball Sparkling Zero gets a proper reveal, and that is
What is
just Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 4. But the Japanese title is Sparkling Zero.
Sparkling Zero.
Yeah.
I love Japanese titles.
They're incredible.
It's the best. Dude.
Dragon Ball Sparkling Zero.
Like, what
What
even?
a wild
It's
name
always
for
a
that.
number. I'm going to start naming the Keep Up episodes like that.
Oh,
The
yeah.
Keep Up Sparkling Matchbook -8.
Oh, you keep workshopping it.
I am.
The developers of Ori announced their next game.
What it is.
It's called No Rest for the Wicked.
Okay.
And it looks pretty cool. It's Diablo-like.
Oh.
And it's kind of like from a top-down view, but it looks really good.
What have they done anything else that I would know?
No, I believe they've only done Ori.
Dude,
I think
Ori's
they
a
did Ori 1 and 2.
banger.
I know. So I'm kind of surprised they're not doing Ori 3, but yeah, they don't have to.
Maybe later.
Maybe
you know,
later,
like
yeah.
do a couple because they did both games.
1 and 2.
Because Will of the Wisps is incredible,
Mm-hmm.
and then do something different, and then down the road maybe we get another Ori. You know?
Yeah, maybe get another.
Those are great.
But it's not necessary. I like when companies go off and do new things.
Well, I don't know if it's necessary or not because I haven't finished Will of the Wisps.
Yeah, finish Will of the Wisps.
I will finish Will of the Wisps.
So this one I'm like apprehensive about.
Okay.
I wouldn't say cautiously optimistic.
Oh, that's usually what Tim says.
Right. I'm apprehensive because it's a Dead by Daylight spin-off game.
Which you don't like Dead by Daylight.
I hate Dead by Daylight.
Wow.
However, it's made by Supermassive Games.
Oh.
So they're making a single-player horror game based off, I guess, character in the Dead by Daylight universe.
Okay, that's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Because gameplay is what you have a problem with from Dead by Daylight.
Yeah. Yep. I don't like necessarily dislike the universe.
Sure.
I don't know anything about it really.
Yeah, because you hate it.
Because I hate it, right?
Right.
But it's super massive, and it looks cool because it looks like it's 4 kids going into this creepy place. and you're doing super massive stuff.
I'm down. That's so cool.
So it looked pretty cool. Jurassic Park is getting a game called Jurassic Park Survival.
That looked great. Basically, first-person Jurassic Park game. Graphics looked incredible.
Yep.
They used the most iconic scene ever to announce it in the kitchen with the raptors.
Yeah.
It's the best.
Oh, it's still to this day one of the best scenes.
So good.
Hellblade gets a confirmed release window.
That's so weird. You know, a few minutes ago when I was like, when? And you were like, what? And I was like, I remembered what it was, but we can skip it. I was going to say, when's the new Hellblade going to come out?
We see it literally every like big event. They're like, Hellblade.
Yeah.
So 2024. Sometime.
That's all we know. That's good at
But it'll
least.
be on Game Pass, so at the very least.
Yeah,
we'll get it
dude.
for free.
That was a game I played this year because of the trailer last year.
Yes.
And I loved it.
This new one, I feel like it's gonna blow our socks off.
Yeah,
They've
yeah.
been hyping it up for so long.
Well, the trailers they've shown, or I think it was gameplay last year.
Yes.
Looked unbelievable.
It was the next gen of the next gens.
Yeah, I know.
Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons is getting a remake.
A remake?
Yeah, kind of weird.
That
but
is weird.
Coming to consoles next
I can't
year.
play that again.
I know. Do I need to feel again? Outlast Trials coming to consoles.
Consoles?
Consoles?
That's cool.
I didn't even see this one.
I haven't played 2 or Whistleblower yet.
No?
Nope.
Dude, get to it.
I know.
I think that is really. There's a lot of other cool like announcements, DLC stuff like that, but nothing that's necessarily worth bringing up.
Yeah, there's a ton of articles out there that'll just list all the announcements. If you guys are
Yes.
interested, definitely look that up. And
Wow, there were so many announcements. I'm still looking through them.
crazy, right?
Yeah, but yeah, go look up the rest. There's a ton. Like again, DLCs, a lot of shooters. That's the big thing from the Game Awards. Is
Yeah.
like there's so many freaking shooters. So
There
many games
always
with
are.
guns.
There always are. Yeah.
And the awards overall, the show was definitely a little controversial this year. It's controversial every year, but the big thing they did this year because of what happened last year with the man who plays Kratos. I forgot his name, but the voice actor of Kratos, he
Yeah.
did that like 8-minute speech.
Oh, yeah.
So this year, what they've done is crazy accelerate the acceptance speeches for everybody. I think they had about 15 to 20 seconds until the music started playing.
Wow, that's crazy.
And then there's a big sign that says speed it up or like get on with it, like some term that's like, okay, get it over
Really?
with. Yeah. So people were really upset about that. Not necessarily the people who won the awards, but the people watching.
because they want to hear the speeches.
Yeah, because some people won the team who won Game of the Year, the Baldur's Gate team. They won an award earlier in the show, and they were talking about how actually it might have been when they won Game of the Year. How there was a bunch of developers who died in the process of making the game, so they wanted to honor them, and they were like naming them, and then the music started to kick them off, and you're like, ooh.
I like that.
Yep, and then it like jumps into a Call of Duty trailer after that. You know, you're like, oh,
That's harsh.
bad news.
Dude,
so.
the cringe in that room must have been strong.
Yep.
That's
so
unfortunate.
It was rough in that regard. So
Yeah.
hopefully they'll get it perfect next year. Because it was, I mean, the show was like 90% ads and 10% awards.
Yeah.
Which is exciting because it's all new announcements.
Right.
But at the same time, you know, you want them to have their time. Like if
Yeah.
you win Game of the Year, you should get more than 20 seconds on the stage.
Yeah, I mean, even if it's just for them, like
Right.
some of those more significant, like, I don't know, you want to show favoritism, but if you won Game of the Year, like, give them a minute.
Right.
You know?
Give them, a little bit more time than
Yeah.
whatever everybody else was getting.
Wow,
So
it's wild.
yeah. But yeah, that was the Game Awards. I had fun, but yeah, I wish they got more screen time, the winners. But
A lot of awards to Alan Wake 2.
yes,
Which I still haven't played. And I know one game you're talking about showed up a few times.
didn't win nothing.
Spider-Man 2.
Spider-Man 2.
I can't believe it didn't win anything. I mean,
Yeah.
it's one of those games that, like, I know everybody loves. And you're like, why didn't it win anything? It's like Leonardo DiCaprio.
Right. It's like deserves it year after year.
Yeah.
And he finally does win.
Oh.
I don't know if the first Spider-Man won stuff.
Must have.
Somewhere.
But maybe, I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
know. What? I don't know.
I don't know. But dude,
Yeah.
Spider-Man content is just always good.
Yeah, but it's just gotten better and better.
Yes.
Like it is interesting you say that because we went to a used game store recently and we were looking at old games and it's like Sega and Super Nintendo. There's like 3 great Spider-Man games that I have so many good memories with.
Yep.
And then in the PlayStation days, Spider-Man and particularly Spider-Man 2, I think was that on PS2?
Yeah.
I just remember swinging in that one.
Yeah,
and
yes.
I was like, this is amazing. How
Yes.
could it get better?
I got confused for a second because I thought you were talking about Spider-Man 2 on PS1. Shocker's Revenge or whatever.
No, not
But
that
you're talking
one.
about the movie game.
I think it was the movie game.
Yeah,
yes. Yeah.
Spider-Man 2, the movie game. Yes.
Yeah, was
PS2.
great. And now we're fast way forward. And Spider-Man on PlayStation was just, I mean, it was easily one of the best games of that year. Like, just so much fun. And then I really enjoyed Miles Morales. It kind of just felt like a little addition. Wasn't as impactful as the full first game.
Is necessary for the second game, though.
Yeah, okay, that's
So
what I
much,
figured because so much is set up. And yeah, it's really beautiful, really fun. And Spider-Man 2.
It is everything you expect, everything you want, tenfold. I mean, they literally, the first 10 minutes of the game, I was like on the floor crying because of how good it was. It's so explosive and dramatic.
Yeah.
And you, again, I mean, I don't want to sound like an ad, but you can see the power of the PS5 in its truest form.
You do sound like an ad.
Thank you. The story's compelling.
Yeah.
There are plenty of things that the internet didn't spoil. They didn't show off in trailers.
That's
like,
cool.
watching it, you're like, oh yeah, Venom's in it. Craven's in it, and you're like, okay, what else there could be? What else could there be?
What else there could be?
What else there could be? And constantly, I was being surprised. So it is a treat for the fans.
We like that.
Gameplay was tight. Again, story was great. It was, to me, there's a very good chance it's my game of the year.
Wow.
Loved it.
You don't have much longer.
I don't. I know. I'm trying to.
Couple weeks.
My current goal right now.
Yeah.
I'm almost at 300 games completed in the year.
Wow.
I'm at 279.
Oof.
So I have to essentially finish a game every day.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah.
What?
Maybe one or two.
How are you going to do that?
So there are some games that I'm partway through. There are
Okay,
some games
that's
that are like an
reasonable.
hour long.
Yeah.
They're like mods for games, indie games, flash games. I'll
Sure.
pull out whatever tricks I got.
You could take like a weekend day and just play you could beat a bunch of games.
You
in
can get a
day.
couple out of the way.
Yeah.
So, but I don't want to do just like cheap, short, quick ones.
Right, 'cause
But I
that's
can do a lot
cheating.
of like beat 'em ups and just like old
Yes.
beat 'em ups. I'm like, oh, I've always wanted to try this one, this
That's
one, this
true.
one. I can do 3 or 4 in a day.
Yep.
So that's what I'm currently working on as far as games go. But
pretty
Spider-Man, it's a keeper. I loved every minute of it.
Yeah.
And I hope everyone plays it because it is so good. Worth
on
getting
my
a
list.
PS5 for.
That's the thing. We are at a point, unfortunately, and I always, for anyone who doesn't know, I always hit this point where I'm so far behind in games, I can't even play them anymore because I don't have a current console.
It's so sad.
I know, but that's all right.
The time will come.
The time will come. The time will come. I just briefly will say I'm in the
Yes.
middle of Will of the Wisps, and as I've mentioned, and if you guys are not familiar with Ori, the first game is Ori and the Blind Forest. Second one is Ori and the Will of the Wisps, which I shouldn't be surprised anymore at how far behind I am, but it came out in 2020. I'm like, how has it been almost 4 years?
Yeah.
But the game is so beautiful. It's a Metroidvania. You play as this little forest creature. It has such a beautiful story full of heart, and it's all about restoring this forest from the darkness that has come over
My heart.
the forest. And and this one adds an adorable little owl as your sister. It's the low battery thing. I think we're still good.
Yeah,
though.
I think we're still good.
Don't worry,
Sorry, I
camera's
just saw it.
coming,
I was
guys.
like, oh.
Yeah. And it's just a very, very pretty and colorful and so much fun. It is it gets pretty complicated as far as like the Metroidvania aspects, the jumping, the attacking. It's a lot about stringing attacks and jumps to get to higher and further away places. So if that's not your thing, you might not be super into it, but it's gradual enough and pretty enough that I think it's really accessible for a lot of people. So
It is crazy how dramatically the gameplay changes from the first to the second
it's
one.
insane. Yeah, it really is.
Because it feels like more of a focus in the second one, where the first one was a way to like get around.
Yeah.
It was
yeah.
like you just jumped through people and your goal
Sure.
was just to like get to where you need to go. And this one's like, time to fight.
Yeah, exactly. The only thing I will say negatively about this game is there is a one section of the world where it's largely sand based, and you pick up this ability where you can like launch through the sand. But you don't have the ability to stop in the sand. You're constantly moving, and it drives me insane.
I remember not loving that place.
I do not love it. It puts such a damper on the other parts of the game, because even the parts where you die over and over again, because it's one of those games where it's not like you die and you have to wait for it to load back up. It's like you die, it immediately puts you back to where you were. You can, it's very well aware that you're going to have to try some things many times because it'll give you your death count at the end and everything. But, or even throughout, actually. In this one, they have this little lizard guy you can talk to, and it'll be like, "Do you want to see how you're doing?" And
it's like, no, I don't.
no, you've died 872 times.
Great.
So, Yeah, it's very aware of that. But even in those parts, it's like, okay, I'm going to have to try this a few times. In the sand parts, it's just like annoying because you're not so much in control. So there are some parts where I couldn't even figure out how to do it better because I didn't have time to like see why I was dying.
Right.
You know, like I'm flying behind something and I'm like, did I hit the wall and that wall hurts me because some materials you can't touch, or did some projectile hit me? So stuff like that was a little bit annoying in that section. But other than that, every world has been more and more interesting, more and more fun. And of course, as you unlock abilities and the whole world becomes more accessible, it's really just enjoyable throughout. That was the only part where I was like, I kind of wish they did this differently.
Yeah, I know. I always wonder, and we talk about it all the time, but like in testing, when they go through areas, like what they think the fun level versus difficulty level is, because, you know, you lose a lot of fun for the difficulty, but then the difficulty is so annoying that you can't even have any fun.
Yeah, right. It's got to be a fine line because obviously you don't want to play it and be like, this is too hard, change it.
Right.
But I would be like, hey, I got annoyed in like 10 minutes playing this. Can we get rid of it? Like that definitely has got to be a fine line to walk when you're developing. But the rest of the game is so good, it's like easy to overlook that.
For sure.
So definitely a keeper. I would recommend. Like I said, I think it's pretty accessible for a wide variety of people because it starts off a little bit slower and you're building up your abilities, but it does build up pretty quick with how you need to connect jumps and attacks and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
it's so pretty. Just look up the art. If you're not a big game person, just look up the Ori art.
I've heard a lot of people just play Ori, like if they don't play anything, Ori is the game that's just
their
like
game.
fun because it's so visually attractive
It is.
that they're willing to learn the gameplay and stuff.
Yeah, I
So
can see that.
art has a big part in gaming.
100%. Yeah, it really does. That's all I have under my belt lately. You got anything else?
I think one more thing I can squeeze in before we wrap it up
do
here.
it.
I have been partaking in this challenge where
The Gamer of the Year thing?
no, not that. That did finish.
Oh, it did?
That did finish. I won. I did win an award because I didn't win Gamer of the Year. There were 3 people who completed all 100 games.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, they must have spent so many hours.
Yeah.
So they had a big competition at the end playing games they'd never played before.
Yeah.
He had like a bunch of different games to go against. I don't remember who officially won, but because I didn't see to the end, but that's why I don't remember.
What a quitter.
I didn't see it.
Couple episodes back, if you guys are curious about that, the challenges were insane, and
Yes.
I can't imagine anyone beating it, but
No.
props to those who did.
Yeah. I ended up with 40-something points. I really wanted to hit 50, but I just didn't have time to do it again
Yeah,
before it ended.
that's
so,
fair.
But I was planning on doing it. Anywho, I
believe
won
you.
Best Colorist.
Best colorist.
So there was a Thomas the Tank Engine game.
Of course.
And apparently everybody who did it, the specific challenge was to color the tank, color the engine.
Okay.
So I colored the whole picture.
Yeah.
But nobody else did. They only colored the tank and only picked one color and colored the whole thing to get to what the rest of the challenge was to race.
Oh.
So I was the only one who colored.
You
the
actually
whole
colored
yeah,
it?
I colored.
That's incredible.
So he brought the picture up and everyone was like clapping and stuff. It was really funny. But,
So proud of you,
So
Tim.
I'm glad I won something
Tim's a
for all
winner.
my effort. And
He's a winner.
Thomas the Tank Engine.
It's so good.
So that was fun. But yeah, the challenge itself, oh my God. So maybe someday it'll be fun to like tackle some of the other ones. But,
Yeah, maybe someday.
No, so once that challenge was finished, my new challenge for this month was this thing called a game shuffler.
Game shuffler.
So what it does is it's an emulator.
Okay.
And you feed it games all the way as far back as like the Atari, all the way up to PS1, Sega
Okay.
Saturn PS1.
Sure.
Feed it whatever random games you want from any of those consoles. And what it'll do is it'll randomly swap the games as you're playing them. So for instance, I have like Ninja Gaiden, the old like NES Ninja Gaiden.
Sure, yeah.
I have the Punisher. I have like a Pocahontas game, bunch of games. There's 12 games total. And so I'll be like in the middle of a boss fight in Ninja Gaiden and it'll swap and I'll jump into like Pocahontas and have to be running through like whatever I was doing.
What?
So now at some point I'll have to go back to Ninja Gaiden. It'll switch to Ninja Gaiden because there's no order. It's randomized. So at some point I'll go back to the midway through the boss fight in Ninja Gaiden and either die miserably. That's what happens 90% of the time.
Sure, yeah, I bet.
Or remember what I'm doing and win.
And it picks up where you were when it bounced?
Yeah, so every single game in the randomizer, it saves that specific point and it'll jump you right
Dude,
to it.
that's wild.
It's insane.
What?
It's fun, But good Lord, the amount of times I've been screwed over because it changed like at the perfect moment as I'm about to stab the boss, and then it changes and
Wow.
and I just fail somehow.
That's crazy.
It's
that exists. Like, what even is that technology?
I don't even know. It's magic. It's
So,
magic.
what consoles can you do?
So you can do all the way back like Atari, Commodore, really old stuff.
But you can do multiple in one shuffler.
Yeah, so you can do any console. So I have like games from PS1, Sega Genesis, Super Nintendo, NES.
Wow.
But you can strictly do it all one console. You can do whatever you want as long as you have the ROMs for the games. You
That's
put them
so
in.
cool.
Yeah, it's really fun. So not only am I playing 12 games at once.
Yeah.
I'm also suffering in 12 different games. So but it's cool because it's like, okay, I'm technically working on 12 games. Like I'm trying to beat 12 games.
That is cool. So once you beat one,
Yes.
So can you stop and like keep picking up where you like pause the shuffler or whatever?
Yeah, yep. So as long as you don't start a new shuffler,
Yeah.
it saves. So there actually is data that shows you how long you've been doing it. So I think I'm at 11 and a half hours.
Okay.
And then how many times it's swapped. And I think I'm at like 500 or 600 swaps.
Oh my gosh.
Since I started, yeah. And you can save state in the game. You can rewind. You can do all the things you can normally do in an
Wow.
emulator. You can also adjust how much time it is in between the switches. So I have it between 15 seconds and 3 minutes.
Okay.
So I might get as lucky as playing the game for 3 minutes straight.
3 minutes.
Or it'll change in 15 seconds and you'll get nothing.
That's insane.
Sometimes I start the game and I like punch a guy and it changes and I'm like, come on. It definitely has a mind of its own.
Dude, this is how you reach your game goal.
That was the goal.
You beat
Dude,
that.
I've spent almost 12 hours playing 12 games. I've beaten 5 of them, I think.
You have?
I quit.
In 15-second to 3-minute increments?
Yes. Yep.
That's crazy.
Hold on. So I've beaten
That is insane.
Ren
dude.
and Stimpy's Invention
Yeah.
on the Genesis, The Little Mermaid, Gundam Battle Assault, which was just like a PS1 fighting game. So have I only beaten 3 games?
He's beaten 3.
I guess so.
Liar.
And then I quit Earthworm Jim.
Why?
It's super hard. Dude, that game sucks balls.
It's the best.
It is not good
love
on the
Earthworm
shuffler. It is so unforgiving.
That sounds right, actually.
And
yeah.
because you're constantly switching, it's a nightmare. So I quit Earthworm Jim. I played Page Master on the Sega Genesis.
Oh, wow.
Nightmare.
Yeah,
That
I
game
don't
is busted.
I barely remember it. I remember liking it because it was Page Master.
Right.
But, yeah.
So it, funny enough, has a cheat ending, if you will, because the game gives you every level in the game, and you can just pick whichever one you want to play, or you can run to the very end of every world and go to the next world without having to beat any levels. And you can, so I was like, I wonder what happens if we go to the very end.
Yeah.
So it gives you the credits. They're like, you're the Page Master, and it rolls all the credits.
What?
And then it says cheater, cheater, Mr. McCheater Pants.
Does it really?
Yeah, and it says you got the cheater ending.
That's
and
amazing.
I'm like, and that counts. Done.
It's an ending.
Because it counts. It's
That's
not.
nuts,
It's
dude.
terrible.
Wow.
And then there was Conker's Pocket Tales, and the only reason I quit that is because I think it would be a better stream by itself.
Oh, that's
Because
fair,
sometimes
yeah.
the flow of the games, and that was the one thing I was learning is like, there are certain games that just do not work well with it. Whether it's like too
That makes
challenging
sense.
or, like the flow of the game, you have to remember what you're doing.
Yeah.
And Conker is very slow paced compared to everything else. That's super fast. So
So once you beat a game, does it pull it out of the shuffle?
yeah, so you just do a keyboard shortcut and,
Okay.
and it just clears it out for you.
Cool. That's nuts, man.
Yeah, so I'm hoping to finish it tomorrow.
You've been doing that on stream?
Yes.
Finish what? All the games?
Yeah, whatever I have left, because everything's like I'm like 90% of the way through like 5.
Oh, you
games.
are?
Yeah.
Wow.
Banjo Pilot, The Punisher on Sega Genesis. I've been playing.
Yeah.
I'm in the final stage there, so I'm at the end of a lot of them.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's
so
cool.
it is really fun. So if anybody's looking to like revitalize your retro gaming,
Sure.
or just like want to do what I do and tackle it. Again, you can do more than 12. 12 was just the number I sat on.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, it's called the BizHawk Game Shuffler.
Last question on this.
Yes.
Do you feel like you're actually enjoying and getting the experience of the games?
And that was a big question I had while
Yeah.
playing it. I think, yeah, for the most part, I'll tell you, I will not forget some of these games. I will certainly not.
That's fair. Yeah, you might even be experiencing them more.
Right,
Yeah.
because I'm playing them in such short chunks,
Right.
but like hundreds of short chunks,
Right.
where my brain's like, okay, because like for
That's
instance,
interesting.
Pocahontas,
Yeah.
we've been stuck. So I'm on level 2 of this game. I've been stuck on it for 11 hours. Like, since I've started it. We beat level 1. That took us like 6 hours. And level 2 took us like the other 6 hours. Because we got it so infrequently, or it took me forever to figure out what I had to do.
Oh.
So that one. But the problem is
Yeah,
it
that's
plays
tough.
one track. We've been listening to Colors of the Wind. Every time it pops up, we're like, stop! I don't want to listen.
Is there not a better song to be stuck on, though?
I guess not, but
I guess, what's better than Colors of the Wind?
Sonic music.
I was going to say Be a Man, but...
That one's a good one. Make a man out of you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Make a Man Out of You.
Yeah. Maybe
Or-
I can play the Mulan game next.
Or Reflection. When will my reflection show who I am inside? Christina Aguilera version?
I was just doing the movie.
I guess I wasn't asking which version you were doing. That's awesome.
Yeah,
that
it
sounds fun.
has been fun. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend it for like story-based games because I think you do lose out on a lot of like things that you would probably enjoy just playing the game by itself.
Sure.
But if you're playing a bunch of like arcade titles or NES titles, most of those, it's just all about the gameplay anyways. Just be
Right.
prepared that games that are hard will be extra hard and games that are easy will also be hard.
Will also be hard.
Yeah.
Twitch.tv/Collection Revolution. Go watch Tim play video games.
Yeah. Play them all the time.
We got anything else on this one?
I think that's it.
I think we did it.
We did it.
Tim, tell everybody where they can find you other than Twitch.
You guys can find me at Collection Revolution on Instagram, on TikTok, on Twitter, on Threads, and wherever else social media exists. I'm probably
That's it.
at Tinder. Probably.
Are you?
I don't think so.
All right.
Unless someone made a fake account of me, which who wouldn't, ladies?
Dang.
Brett,
What?
where can everyone find you?
You can follow me on Instagram at This Drink I Like It. There's a link tree there that has all my other stuff on there. Dude, I just got a final cut of my music video for the next animatronic single.
I
I'm
can't
so stoked.
wait.
So yeah, This Drink I Like It on Instagram is my personal. You can follow me and hang out with me there. And then the link tree will get you to my other podcasts and music and all that stuff. Again, thank you guys for hanging out with us. This has been episode number 269.
Nice.
There it is. If you are interested in getting yourself some extra bonuses, you can find us at patreon.com/thekeepup. You can get a bonus podcast, some food-related videos. What else we got on there? You can call us. You can vote on our polls to help us decide what content we're going to put out next, that kind of stuff. Tim's going to do what's called End Babble, where he talks nonsense for about a minute and a half. And Tim, your theme today is the return of the great Platypus.
Okay.
Thank you guys for hanging out with us. This has been episode number 269. Have a great week. Love you. Bye.
The great Platypus rises like a piece of toast out of a toaster, floats high above the sky, crying, going, Vishnu, Vishnu, crying upon the people, wishing they would take care of their children, their lonely, sad children, on Christmas. And he visits his first neighbor, Bartleby. And Bartleby, he knocks on his door. And Bartleby answers and says, "Oh, the return of the great platypus. What was it? Platman. And the great Platman goes, quack, quack. And Bartleby says, "Yes, the lesson has been learned. I will make sure my children are fed tonight." And the great Plat flew back to the heavens to return once again to treat the children, to treat them with respect. So I'll leave you with this. Don't ever touch a platypus. They'll bite you. And then you'll get platus. You don't want platus. That's a bad disease.